All right, so today we're going to talk about something I think a lot of us struggle with. It's that huge, kind of paralyzing feeling you get right before you try to make your first dollar online. You know what I mean? We're going to walk through a story about going from just watching on the sidelines to actually getting in the game.
So, have you ever caught yourself looking at other people online, freelancers, designers, marketers, and just thinking, why not me? I could totally do that. But then you just don't. Something holds you back. Well, that exact question, what am I waiting for? That's what kicked this whole thing off.
And you know what the answer was? It was this. Super simple. Just start. No overthinking. No waiting for that perfect moment that, let's be real, never actually comes. It was just this promise made one cold morning. I'm done waiting. I'm just going to begin. And that decision, right there, is where things really start to get interesting.
Okay, so Section 1, the waiting game. Before that big commitment, there was this long period of, well, just waiting. It's a phase I'm pretty sure almost all of us have been stuck in at some point.
Yeah, for the longest time, it was all about just watching other people succeed online. It's that classic spectator mode, right? It feels safe, it's comfortable, but man, it's also where your potential just kind of fizzles out. So that's our starting point, being on the outside looking in, full of ideas, but with zero forward motion.
All right, Section 2, a $5 spark. So then something changed. A decision was made to stop being a spectator and start being a player, even in the tiniest way you can imagine. This is that turning point, the little moment that lit the match.
So, what did we have to start with? Let's be real. There was no budget. Zilch. No huge, impressive skills. The only thing, and I mean the only thing in the plus column was determination. And honestly, that's such a huge lesson, right? You don't need everything to be perfect to just get started.
So what was that first step? It was offering these tiny, what you'd call microservices. We're not talking about, building some crazy complex app or anything. Nope. We're talking basic design, a little photo editing, writing short descriptions, things like creating Facebook pages or just brainstorming some marketing ideas. Super simple stuff that makes getting started feel, well, actually possible.
And the price tag for all this? Just $5. $5. The goal wasn't to get rich overnight, not even close. The goal was just to break that cycle of doing nothing, to prove that yes, it was possible to get even one single person to pay for a service. Okay, part 3, fueling the fire. So that little $5 spark was officially lit. Now let's get into how that tiny action started to create a real reaction and how it grew into something way bigger.
So the service goes live and then crickets. Day 1, waiting. Day 2, still waiting. You can just imagine the self-doubt starting to creep back in, right? Like, oh no, this was a dumb idea. But then, on day 3, everything changed.
Bing! That one little sound, the sound of a notification for the very first order. I mean, it's just a ping, but it was a massive breakthrough.
And that feeling, oh my gosh, it wasn't about the money. I swear it felt like I had made $1 billion, not just $5. It was all about the validation. Just knowing that someone somewhere out there saw value in what you were offering, wow. That feeling is worth more than any amount of cash. So, the job gets done. And not just done, but done with real care. A little extra value was thrown in just to make it great. And the client's reaction? It was better than anyone could have possibly hoped for. First up, a glowing 5-star review. Awesome. But then they did something even better. A new order. And this time it was for $15. That's a 200% jump from the very first gig. Suddenly, this wasn't just a one-off thing anymore. This was the start of some real, actual momentum. And that was the moment. That was the click. The point where all that self-doubt just got replaced by self-belief. It wasn't maybe I can do this anymore. It was, oh yeah, I can really do this. All right, Section 4, the $1,000 milestone. So with this new confidence, those small wins started to stack up, and that little $5 spark grew into a pretty major milestone. So what was the game plan? Honestly, it was simple. Just keep getting better. And really important, treat every single client like they were the first and only client. That commitment to quality is what turned one-off orders into a steady stream of work. And you know what? It worked. Orders started rolling in one after another. The momentum was real. So at the end of that very first month of actually doing something, it was time to check the bank account and see what all that hustle added up to.
And there it was, $1,038. Just think about that. From one single $5 service that came from a simple decision to just start came a four-figure income in 1 month.
Can you imagine that feeling? Just pure accomplishment. Staring at the screen, probably with a huge grin, and just realizing, this is it, my first $1,000. And I earned it all by myself. Not from a 9-to-5, not from anyone else. Earned. From scratch.
Okay, last section, what you can learn. So what's the big takeaway here? This isn't just a cool story. It's basically a roadmap with some really valuable lessons packed inside.
So let's break it down. What are the key lessons here? First, a small start is so much better than a big, perfect idea that you never act on. Action beats ideas every time. Second, those good reviews you get at the beginning, they're like gold. They're way more valuable than the cash because they build trust. Third, clients come back when you actually care. It's that simple. They can tell. And finally, you're so much more likely to succeed if you start with something you genuinely enjoy doing. It just makes the whole process feel less like work.
And that really brings us all the way back to the beginning, to the final and maybe most important question. This entire journey, this whole thing, it all started with one tiny $5 action. So it kind of leaves you with something to think about, right? What's your $5 spark going to be?